Happy Pride. It is day one of the Queer Lit Readathon, and I'm actually up relatively early before I have to go to work, which is super cool. That means that I actually have some time to read this morning. I'm going to start out talking about what I'll be reading first. You can check out my TBR for the plans that I initially had. Though very on brand, I'm going to be starting off with some books that are not on that TBR. This is because I have already started something or need to finish, and also just things that came in on Libby. So, assuming my brain lets me, which I've not really been reading a lot of audiobooks, I'm probably going to start Real Queer America by Samantha Allen, because I just got my hold for that in through Libby. Though I don't think it's really that long, so I should also be able to read Rick at some point this week, which is a hoopla pick, so I don't have to wait for it necessarily. So far as physical reading goes, I'm going to be starting off with A Lady for a Duke, which I'm already a decent bit of the way through, and I fucking love it so far. I don't really read a whole lot of adult romance, and I really don't read a whole lot set in this time period. The only kind of historically stuff that I really read, not that that's a word, tends to be like within the 1900s still, and with that in the later half of the 1900s, which some people wouldn't even necessarily call historical, but I think this is super cute. There are so many one-liners that I've had to literally just like stop and like scream for a minute. Most of the time not literally, but sometimes literally. It's just really good. So far as the synopsis goes, this is about Justin and Violet, who grew up as childhood best friends. They both go into the war together, and it seems as though Violet dies during one of the battles. However, she just kind of uses the battle as an opportunity to fake her own death to actually live as her authentic self. And in this book, she's in a situation where she has to go to Justin's, like, land. I don't really know how aristocracy works. Basically, she, alongside her, family, have to go in and check on, Justin and Justin's sister, and she's really wary of seeing him, not because she doesn't like want to see him, but because she's scared kind of about what she would say. So they get to know each other, and he doesn't know that she is his long lost childhood best friend, and it's just like, it's yearning on a whole other level that literally could not be done in a cisgender situation. Like, this is very uniquely queer or trans in this way. I've got a lot of feelings about it, and I'm excited to finish it. I really would have been done with it by this point if my brain hadn't been like full of bees the past few days. So hopefully we'll actually get to read some. At least they're good bees. So, I'm gonna go feed my cats before they kill me and do a little bit of morning reading. Okay, so this week has not exactly gone as planned. I have a book to talk about though, and that is Run the Riot Volume 4. I can't really say much about the specifics of what's in the book, but it was good. I am sad to see the story wrapped up, and I did have some things that I wish could have been elaborated on, but with the time that they had, I think it totally made sense. I really liked the message at the end, and I really liked that they included at the end they included the original like short story type of deal that Run the Riot was kind of expanded from. That was really neat to see, especially thinking about like the progression and other themes that have since been added. It's super neat stuff. So I'm sad to see it go, and I wish we could have seen more. But with the limits of 4 volumes, I think that it was very good. I have also been continuing to work on A Lady for a Duke, and it is so cute. There is no reason that it has taken me this long to read it. For reference, the readathon's over. It's the 13th. Many things happened this week, so this is where we're at. But A Lady for a Duke is really cute. It's taking me so long to read it, partly because I've been working a lot. Also, my brain has been like bees. Partly in a good way, because like everything that's like cute and sweet and sappy just like feels like more because of just my emotions and other things happening. And then I had a couple of days that were like probably the worst like PTSD related breakdowns that I've had without being in like an active kind of situation. So that was severely uncute. So this vlog is going to continue into the next week, but I actually do have a lot to do because I found out my official move date. I'm going to be or maybe not move date, but when the apartment opens up, I'm going to be moving from the South to the Pacific Northwest. It's a really big move, and I have to be out of this apartment by the end of the month. And then I'm going to stay at my mom's house for a short bit and be traveling a long time. These friends are going to be in a plane. They'll probably hate it, but they'll also probably be sedated. So it'll be good stuff. So I'm going to be starting to pack my books. I've got to pick which books I'm going to leave out or which books to pack last. So I'll be doing that over the course of the coming week, and I'll show y'all some of it and talk about stuff that I end up reading. So here's what my living room currently looks like in regards to my books. If you'd say anything nasty about how messy it is, you're transphobic. So we've got several shelves and some stacks because, you know, that's just how it is. And then also my nonfiction, which there's kind of stuff back there, and like kind of some that stack there. So there's a lot to pack, a lot to figure out. I am going to be, let's see, what's today's date? So I've got about a month before I go to Washington, but I only have about 2 weeks until I leave this apartment. So I've got to figure out what kind of I want the book situation to look like. I definitely have a Kindle with a bunch of stuff on there that I need to read, so I'll probably rely heavily on that. And I think I'm going to start with packing up books that I have read. Now, have I done any taking pictures or making TikTok videos? No, not really. Maybe save for a couple. Should I? Probably, but I just don't think that's in the cards. So my plan is to start probably somewhere over here with the young adult that I have read and the regular fiction that I have read. I'll make a couple of exceptions. Like, I know I need to take a picture for Summer Suns because when I post that video, oh shit, I need to film the video for Summer Suns. So that will be an exception if I get that far. I'll probably also go ahead and pack up some of the religious studies and self-help that I don't think I'm going to read. A decent portion of my graphic novels. There are a couple that I want to reread, and I've got to put my finger on exactly what that is. So I'm going to focus on read books, and then we'll look at unread. It is some undetermined number of days later. But I have finally finished A Lady for a Duke. So I'm going to talk first about, like, everything except for the last, like, 70 pages. Because the majority of this was fucking incredible. There was so much of this. There were so many lines that just completely fucked me all the way up. Shit that was so cute or so full of, like, yearning. Also lines that were, like, just, like, devastatingly, like, sad because of that. There is so much of this that is just so fucking incredible. Like, I kept having to set the book down to just scream because it was so good. I highlighted so many things that I couldn't deal. It was so good. So the vast majority of this book was incredible. 5 stars. Were there technical bits and pieces that I could critique? Yes, but I did not care because it was so good. And I also thought that, like, a lot of their interactions were really, like, in terms of looking at gender and, like, sex positivity and stuff like that, I thought that it was all very well done. So there are so many great things about this. The last 70 pages or so, I did not really enjoy. I'm not really gonna elaborate because it's literally the end of the book. Not that the ending is bad, but I just didn't necessarily like everything that happened, and that is very vague, and it's going to stay that way. However, I can forgive it because the rest of it was fucking incredible, and cute, and I died about 1,200 times reading it. So, there's Lady for a Duke. There's, I guess, I think that the queer romance readathon is still going on. So I'll say that I read it for that, although I've been reading it since last month because it was so cute, and my own feelings, like, it just made it really hard to process shit that was that cute. So here we are now. Now that that's done, I think this was originally going to be a week vlog. Turned into 2. We're just going to keep going because I've only read 2 books. And I guess this is just going to be a whole Pride Month vlog or something. We'll see. The next book that I'm going to start is Disobedience by Naomi Alderman. And this is one of the ones that I wanted to read the book and then watch the movie. So I will be doing that. It doesn't seem too long. I've heard lots of great things about it. So I'll be starting this. I also may dip my toes back into some nonfiction just because it's been a minute. I'll probably continue with Postcolonial Astrology, which is written by a queer author, so it also kind of stays in the gay vein, and I just really need to finish reading this because it's extremely interesting and relevant to my interests, which is, I guess, all the shit I read. So it was probably unnecessary. But that is the plan. So several things have happened over the past while. And so I have not updated this vlog like I thought I would. I also haven't really read, though, to be fair. I think that I talked about talking about like the box of books that I was going to keep aside, but like honestly, it was such an unruly list and I'm literally about to pack most of them away, so kind of pointless. Probably gonna leave that out. And I started Disobedience, only a chapter in, so I don't have anything to say. I'm probably, I mean, I am gonna finish it eventually, but like not in the next 2 days, or 3 days, which is how much longer the month is. Plus I'll probably be watching the movie after I move, is what I would assume. And while I am starting to move my stuff out of my apartment, I'm not moving to the place that I'm going to end up for another couple weeks. So I need to close out this vlog. One exciting thing that did happen, though, and that I did not get footage of because, of course, it just didn't happen. But I got to see Xander and Nico, and it was a lot of fun. Xander and I went to a used bookstore, and then all three of us were at Barnes & Noble. It was really cute. And it was a fun time. So I think we took a selfie, so that'll be here. That's the proof, even if there wasn't any cute vloggy footage. But I can do my book haul of that. I've got a couple of things when we went shopping, and then I've bought a couple of things since then. So, at the used bookstore, I got one thing that was not a book. I have not really previously collected records. I do have the Neutral Milk Hotel record, which has fallen behind my bookshelf. I love that for me, but at least I'll be able to get it out soon. I don't have a record player, but the person I'm moving in with does. And so I got Transcendental Youth by the Mountain Goats on record. This is one of my favorites of theirs. I also have a really soft spot for Tallahassee, All Hill, West Texas, and the Sunset Tree. The Sunset Tree was the first record of theirs that I got, just like a digital download of, the first one that I listened to in full. And I also really like Come to the Sunset Tree, which is like not the full record, but it was one of like the lo-fi things that I think they developed into that. That's you can only really find on you can't really find on Spotify. Listen to it on YouTube. But anyways, more information than y'all asked for. But I have Transcendental Youth, Cry for Judas, Amy aka Gladiator, Spectre One, Diaz Brothers. They all slap. So from the same bookstore, I also got Pulp by Robin Talley, which is I think a young adult that looks at these two people at different points in time. One of them is an author of like lesbian pulp novels. So it deals with like some historical stuff. I've heard really good things, and this one was signed. How cool is that? The other book that I got there was 9 Stories by J.D. Salinger. I know that I feel like J.D. Salinger is one of those people that people either really like or really hate. I really, really love Catcher in the Rye. I have a lot of thoughts on it, and I'm probably going to do a reread soon. So I've wanted to read their stuff, and then one of my favorite people really likes Franny and Zoe and 9 Stories. So I picked up 9 Stories. I've had Franny and Zoe and plan to read it very soon. Other than that, I've gotten a couple of other books from the store. A couple of nonfiction ones. Y'all Means All, The Emerging Voices Queering Appalachia. And I've been thinking about this book for quite a while. And we got in a copy at the store that I work at, so I went ahead and bought it. It's not that big, so I think that it will be easier to get through than some anthologies. I'm pretty excited about it, though. The other nonfiction that I got was Handbook for a Post-Row America, which I don't actually know that much about. I've heard people recommend it, so I don't really know 100% how all of it is. I do know that there is some useful information in here about organizations and other things, so I thought that it would be good to have, keeping an open, or not open mind, well, yeah, open mind, and reading with a grain of salt a little bit when thinking about maybe some of the things that they say, just because I don't exactly know how inclusive it is. Amanda Palmer wrote the introduction, which is why I'm like a little bit, like, you know. But I think that there's good information. So I know how to read things critically, so it'll be fine. And the final book that I got is much more fun, and that is Donuts Under a Crescent Moon, Volume 3, that just came out. I'm super excited about this. I love the series. The first two are so precious and wholesome. This is a Yuri manga about two co-workers. One of them is very sociable, but definitely, I would say I read her as very autistic and kind of going with what a lot of her coworkers want. I could very much see, like, the intersection of, like, compet and, like neurodivergence, or possibly masking. I don't know. I don't know specific words. But she's really adorable, and the coworker is, like, kind of a loner, and they end up connecting after work one day. And they're, like, I think at this point in the series, they aren't, like, in a relationship, but they have a really strong friendship. And a lot of it's built on, like, wanting each other to be better, and, like, checking in with each other to see if they can do specific things that they need to do to improve each other. And it's literally, I'm fucking crying. You can't tell, but, like, inside, I can't deal. So I'm super excited to see what Volume 3 has. So it's a little book haul to wrap things up. Let me know what you read during Pride Month in the comments. Let me know if you read more than I did. The bar is very low. But yeah, thank y'all so much for watching. Bye.